bids are in, the gavel is dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, here at WineBid, we are finally hammered. That's right, this is WineBid's podcast dedicated to all things wine value, wine retail, wine auctions, and just wine. My name is Jeff McGurn of the WineBid marketing team. Joining me today, as he does every time we do this, is Paul Walker, our wine expert, lovingly known the world around as the Rector of Rioja. Welcome to the podcast, Paul. It is
so
wonderful to have you here.
Where is this one going?
And today we're gonna try and do something we haven't done in a while. And we're gonna try and do it in a condensed amount of time. I think we can get through all the stuff we have at auction or coming up.
Let's qualify.
Not all the stuff, but like the highlights. We can.
We're trying to we try to point out as many regions and examples that we like, that we enjoy or
that's
find
what I meant to say. They know
rarities.
The bots know what I mean, okay? ChatGPT knows what I mean, okay?
But no, I did want to say that wines do get added to auction throughout the week. Generally speaking, most of the larger collections are in at the beginning of the auction, if not Sunday night, Monday morning, generally speaking. Again, I think last week actually was a little bit of an exception. There was a big collection that was added midweek. So, bidders that didn't see some of those wines we'll see them this week. So anyway, it's a good idea just to check again, because you look at your favorites or whatever in the middle of the week or later in the week, because there might be some new wines. And so there might be some things also that I'm definitely missing, since I know there was some stuff added late this week as well. So
absolutely. Anyway. Well, let's jump into it, shall we?
All right.
We're going to go around the world. Paul, give me your top few picks for Italy.
For Italy?
Yeah, Italy.
Okay. Yeah. Like Jeff likes to skate back and forth through all these different regions. I try to organize some of my stuff, but let's start with Piedmont. Bartolo Mascarello. I can try and pronounce this properly. 06 and 08 popped in this week. An older 82 Giacosa Reserva. I think there's a couple bottles of it. The Santo Stefano di Nieve Barbaresco, beautiful wine. Samvira 2010. So a little bit of time on that. Giuseppe, or Beppe Rinaldi, as so many people call him. He passed away, unfortunately. Anyway, 06 Brunate Lacoste in this week. Also a couple bottles of Mon Privato. Amazing Barolo, which is creeping up in price. Used to be pretty reasonable. But anyway, there's the 04 and the 11, which were my picks from Piedmont. Tuscany, there's some 97 Canalicuda Sopra Brunello. I don't think this has been in for a while. Fantastic vintage from the 90s, but that's really, really good. It's the Canalicchio Reserva, by the way. There's also 2010 Castellari de Castellina e Sodi de San Nicolo. Love this wine. Really nice to see a bottle for, with almost 14 years of age now. $80 for that. There's some really nice Sassicaia starting with 94, which oddly enough, I think there was a bottle of 94 just a couple of weeks ago, and we hadn't seen it in a long time. So another one popped up this week. And then 10, 11, 12, little mini vertical of Sassicaia. And then finally from the Veneto, there's a 96 Dal Forno from the, Monte Lodoletta. I guess the Valpolicella Superiore is all from Monte Lodoletta. But anyway, $95 for that 1996 Dal Forno. And I think those were my Italy picks this week.
All right, let's move on to Australia. Got a bunch of old.
Some heavy hitters in Australia this week.
Yeah, like a bunch of old Grange.
78, 79.
07.
Yeah.
Some Torbreck, 12 Run Rig, 12 The Factor, 12 Les Amis. Yeah, some pretty serious stuff coming in this week.
Yeah. I noticed there's the Yari Yaring wines, which we really don't see too often. Prices are still fairly reasonable, especially for 14-year-old examples. There's the red wine number 1 and number 2, both from 2010, $80 and $70 reserve respectively. And then also the 2012 Underhill Shiraz for $80. So those caught my eye because we don't see a lot of it. And I think these wines age really well. Just they're kind of like Henschke and Grange. They're collectible, but not crazy expensive.
Let's head back over to Europe. In Germany, there's the 08 Keller Spätburgunder FR
Oh yeah,
auction.
Single bottle of Keller Pinot Noir popped in this week.
Just random,
after all the wine in the last week.
It's just gonna slyly slide into the auction.
Sneak it. Is it an auction bottle too?
Yes,
it is. Okay,
bottle as well. And by the way, it already has a bid on it.
Oh wow.
So and
somebody that missed out last week.
Somebody that
got
missed
a
out
second
last
chance,
week.
I guess. I mean, there's still plenty of Keller wines in the auction, but if you want Pinot Noir, well, no, there's a couple examples still. But yeah, that auction bottle is a rare one.
The auction bottle is definitely a rare one. Let's talk Spain for just a minute. Nice.
Sure.
08 Vega Sicilia Valbuena 5.0 for 190. That was kind of interesting. And this 95 Lopez de Heredia Rioja Vina Bosconia Gran Reserva for 270. I thought that was pretty cool. And some other older
whites are
whites from the 90s.
94 white Grand Reserves, like twice as much as the 95 red, which is wild.
The 96 is 190, the 98 is 200, the 99 is 200, and the color on those actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, no, they do. Those wines last a long, long time. There's a 13 Valyak, I don't know how to pronounce it actually, Priorat wine that's been around for a long time. Don't see it too often. Mas de la Rosa, that caught my eye this week from Spain, as well as 2010 Pingus in this week.
A lot of really, really cool stuff from Spain. Let us take a look at Austria. We've got an 82 Schlossbauer Pinot Gris ice wine for $55. That's actually a pretty good deal. I've not seen a ton of ice wine from Austria, which is kind of interesting.
Well, those Crotcher wines, we see those a lot, but
there's not like a ton of it that comes in auction, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, you can count on it generally hitting the auction fairly often. They're like point darling wines, but yeah, this one is a little bit, I would say, quite a bit more rare.
76 Schlossbauer Rulander Trockenbeeren Auslese for $85 as well. So some really cool older Austrian sweet wines that probably are drinking crazy well right now.
Yeah.
And then anything from Portugal you want to mention before we head over to France?
I was going to just mention near Portugal, I guess under the auspices of Portugal, there's a 1900 Manuel de Souza Herdeiros Boal Madeira, a couple of them actually.
Well, a couple of them. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, there are other lots. Yeah. Okay. I just picked one lot. Sorry. Yeah, so that caught my 1900. Don't see those every day. And then I did want to mention really quickly from Argentina, a bottle of 09 Cheval des Andes popped in, got a bid. Looks like now at 51. It's like a pretty relative deal because I don't think we see too much, older or 10 plus years old Cheval des Andes. But anyway, that was an interesting one.
Let's shift our focus ever so slightly and let's go over to France, shall we?
All right.
As I am wont to do, because I am the host and I can do this, we're starting in Bordeaux, and let's just run through the stuff we have, because there's some really cool Bordeaux coming in this
There
week.
it is, yeah. Really nice wines.
I was looking at the 19 Mouton. We've got 3 of those. They're $5.20 a piece. I mean, they on premiered at $3.95 in 2020. But, they got up as high as $6.95 in 2022. So it makes me believe that even at $5.20, this is still a good deal for Mouton. There's a 1979 Margot. I know what you're going to say. You probably say tricky vintage 79 for
No, it's good. That wine's good.
$365 for that.
I tagged it because I've had that wine a couple of times. It's very, very good. I think it gets underappreciated because it was not universally, great vintage, but that Chateau Margaux from 79 is excellent.
Recent taste.
And there's a bunch of it.
There's 11 bottles.
The labels are shredded, but the bottles are in great shape. The levels are good. And it looks like they were well stored. So
we've got 12 bottles of the 19 Pontet Canet for 105. The on premiere was 99. I thought that was kind of interesting to see. You get a lot of movement on that Mouton, not a lot of movement on Pontet Canet. And 08, La Maison Aubryon for 205. I didn't think that was crazy for La Maison.
No, those 08s are still, they seem pretty inexpensive to me. I remember, when those futures came out, the market was suffering. And so the prices were low and they seem to have stayed pretty low. I mean, I don't think it's as great as say '09 or 10 or, other vintages like that, but still they seem to be relative deals, compared to vintages right after them.
And that's just it. Like, okay, maybe you're not getting the most critically acclaimed.
No, they don't get they don't get those scores of the '09s. '09s, I think, were overscored too. There were like hundreds of, many 100-point scores for the '09 Red Bull. But '08s were like, it'd be really fun to try side by side. Now they've got a little bit of time on them because it's not like the scores were bad for a lot of, especially like something like Le Mission. So that's a great pick. That's a great deal, I think.
Boom. Pen drop. I would drop my mic, but then we
excuse me.
Podcast immediately. 2010 Montrose, we've got 9 of those for 205. I didn't think that was a bad deal either for Montrose with 14 years of age on it.
I suspect too that it didn't get like, well, no. 10 Montrose got Parker 100. So there you go. It's kind of funny.
I mean, like, I was like, this is not like, I just felt like this is not a bad price.
No, it's really not. It's a funny one, The 90 is still going for, over $600. It's like, why wouldn't the 10 then suddenly, go for a bunch more? I don't know. That again seems like a relative deal.
And we've got 9 of them. So, it's not like the likelihood that people are going to get bidding war over that.
They probably won't get bid up that much, if at all.
1989 Chateau Clinet for 470.
That's a great wine. I saw that. That's really, really good.
And then meanwhile, there's the 2019 Clinet for 120, which on premiered at $90. So a little bit of movement there since on premiere.
There's a bunch of it too.
Yeah, there's
almost 2 cases, I think.
2010 Chateau Eau Bali has one bid taking it from 135 to 145, and I believe the 2022 on premiere for Eau Bali was 165. So like 135 for a 2010. Like that seems like a pretty darn good deal for that. 1996 Grand Prix.
Big scores for that 10 too.
Yeah, big scores for that. 1996 Grand Prix Lacoste for 105. We've got 3 of those. The 2022 EP on premiere was 80. 66 Trotanoy for 390.
Yeah, I saw that too. I wonder how that's ranking because 66 again, like left bank wines were challenging, let's just say, but maybe Trotanoy was a different story. I should see what Mr. William Kelly has to say about that wine. Seems like he'd have a good opinion of it. But anyway, yeah.
Tricky vintage, but if you wanted to, take a risk, roll the dice, maybe with a little less of a bet, you could get the 66 La Lagune for 145, which there are 9. And actually I was looking at the tasting notes, and tasting notes actually say like, oh, this is actually holding up. So I thought that was interesting. Cool. The 01 Giraud, Chateau Giraud, we have one of those.
So turns Giraud, you mean?
Giraud, yeah. One bid on that, taken from 50 to 51. 98 Clos L'Église we have 950. 2009 Le Dome. I thought that was interesting. Has a bid on it, taken from 190 to 200. 19.
I want to say that was like a big score for.
I think it was a big score.
Yeah, Parker 99. So 99. It's
1955 Chateau Gillette Creme de Tête.
Oh yeah, this bottle looked awesome because that's like it's like the reserve label, which I don't think is made in every vintage either. But that bottle's in amazing condition. It's
great condition. It looks great.
Built into the neck. Yeah, it looks beautiful. Color looks beautiful.
2000 Chateau Royal Valentine. One bid on 2 bottles takes from 55 to 56.
Yeah, it's funny you mention this because it's another like little, small producer. It gets a lot of attention because the scores were really great. We don't see a ton of it. But there's a mag of 98 too, which caught my eye. I thought the 2000 was a smoking deal for
$55.
$55, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Even at 56, that's still smoking deal.
Yeah, no, that'd be a great one to try, with the 2000 tasting, in an interesting lineup. I wonder how that's drinking because that's a good one.
And then the last one I'll mention, I couldn't get through without mentioning this, was this 1904 Chateau Reine Vigneault. We have one of them that has two bids, taking it from 450 to 510.
1904. Yeah.
1904.
Wow.
Now the cork markings indicate it was a refurbishment by the Chateau in 1996. So the bottle's in edition for 1904.
That is really, really cool because that's, I mean, if anyone's having a birthday.
If you know anyone who's 120 years old, turning 120 this year, like, this is your bottle.
Maybe, that's awesome.
I mean, how rad is this? 1904?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Before the Depression, before World War I, all that. Like, there was this.
That's amazing.
What did I miss in Bordeaux?
You pretty much hit all the highlights that I found. 18 Brenner du Cru, again, I thought was very reasonable at 65. Great vintage, recent vintage stuff that seems to be going for less than very recent vintage or, futures prices. 05 Cheval Blanc caught my eye. Yeah, those Clinés you mentioned. 89 La Conscience, 5 of those came in. That's great wine. 89 Lafite, a couple of those at 590, didn't think was terrible. 05 and 09 Levo Las Casas popped in this week. I think those are still relatively reasonable, 245 and 230 respectively. 05 Levo Poiffre, 165. Oh yeah, there's 90 and 15 L'Evangile. I thought the 90 was a great deal for 180. Phenomenal vintage, obviously lots of time on it. And then the 15s at 190, 82 Lynchbage, 89 Lynchbage. As I said, 89 is still just drinking phenomenally well. 90 Margot also came in this week. Incredible wine. 95 Mouton, 19 Palmer. There's 8 of those at 300. 89 Pichon Baron popped in again this week. And then there's a really nice selection of Pichon Lalande, 86, 95, 96, 2000, 18, and a 19 Mag I saw at 420. Did not seem like a bad deal. And then the 2020s in this week too, for 195. 09 Trolang Mondo I thought wasn't terrible for 140. And yeah, you mentioned the Roll Valentines and the Old Sauternes. So yeah, really nice batch of Bordeaux this week.
Let's move into Burgundy.
Sounds good.
I only had a few picks. I'm sure you have a lot more.
I have a handful, not a ton, but
yeah, I got a handful. Of course, I wanted to mention this 96 Rousseau Chambertin Claude de Bez for $23.15. We've got 2 of those in case you want to buy.
That's serious.
You get both, one for you, one for me. We've got the 2013 Georges Munneret Nuit Saint Georges for $2.95. 73 Comte Lafon Merceau Charmes. For one.
Yeah, that bottle looks great. Did you see the color on it? It looks amazing.
It has 6 bids already.
Yeah, that's
$100.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it here and struggling. But that would be a really, really, really tough one to replace.
I was going to say,
that's all I can say.
At 130, it would have been fantastic. It would have been a steal, right?
Yeah, it's up to 600 now. Yeah, that's wild.
Well, when I looked at it, it's up to 600. I don't know what it's at today.
No, it's still 600, but it looks amazing. The bottle just looks incredible. Yeah.
2010, Jean-Marc Boileau, Puny Montrachet, Champconnet had one bid taken from 75 to 76. And then I also picked out this 2019 Les Horaces Bourgogne.
Les Horaces. You picked. It sounds like you already bought it. You said I picked it up. That's what you just said.
I picked
there was a bunch of Les Horaces last week. Did you pick any up?
No, I didn't pick any up. This is the Aligoté. Anyway,
that's a lot for Aligoté.
$250 for Aligoté.
No, these are rare wines, and it's weird because I think some of it from last week is still in this week, but yeah, a new batch hit the auction. I'm very curious. I've never tasted these wines, so I'm very, very curious. But there's a lot of interest in these.
What did I miss in Burgundy?
Let's see. Yeah, speaking of Les Oreilles, I tagged the Gevrey Chambertin en Première because I don't think that's been in before. I could be wrong, but anyway, $4.45 for that. Yeah, and you mentioned the Aligoté en Coulazan, and then there's some Bourgogne Blanc Ajanib. I don't even know how to say that. Anyway, nice batch of that. There's also, you kind of hit on the highlights as well for Burgundy. Some nice bottles of Romane Conti, 05 Richebourg and 08 Von Romane Premier Cru. There's some Roumier Chambolle Musigny 2012, or excuse me, it was just one. 61 Grivelet Richebourg caught my eye. I haven't seen that for a long time. Bottle looks pretty darn good, and the price is not insane. It's 320. I don't know how great this wine is, but there's a couple other examples of it as well. But anyway, that's a cool one. 85 Hospice de Beaune, the Cuvée Maurice Durand from Joseph Durand Elevage. That one caught my eye as well. 175. 89 Jean Griveaux Clos Vougeot, a couple of those at 200. There's a 99 Jadot Clos Saint Jacques at 250. I think was crazy. And then otherwise I had the Les Oreilles wines and the Lafon 73 Marceau Charmes looks incredible. So yeah, nice little batch.
Let's talk champagne for just a second here. 89 Veuve Clicquot Ponsardin Trillium.
Yeah, what is this? I saw this Trillium
from 89.
Trillium Reserve, but is this I wonder if this is a more recent release or something?
1989.
I know, but they released the 89 Rosé a long time ago, but not this Trillium Cuvée. I don't know this Reserve Cuvée. It looks also doesn't it look like a newer label to you? It does to me. The label looks not very old. So it says, Trillium Reserved Cuvée in English, where the vintage is. Limited edition. I'm curious about that. Yeah, because the foil, the capsule, it doesn't look, it looks maybe 10 or 20 years old. It doesn't look.
I mean, I'm surprised you don't know all about this. I was expecting you to educate me on this Trillium.
Well, no, because I will say this. I remember that when the 89 Reserve Rosé was released, I want to say it was sometime in the late 90s. I don't think it was released, I think it was 10 years after vintage or something, to my recollection. But this wine I've never seen, so I don't know, but looks amazing. It looks really, really good.
It looks really good. It looks like it's good condition. I didn't think the price was crazy. 07 Taittinger Comps de Champagne Rosé for 240. We got 6 of those. And then the 99 Philipponat Clos de Gois mag for 565.
Yeah, that was my pick for sure. Clos de Gois 99. That looks amazing. So you hit on my picks too.
In the Languedoc-Roussillon, there's this 01 Chateau de la Neglie, Clos de Truffière. 45 of 2 of those.
Yeah, I think these are, I want to say this is a big points wine. I'm pretty sure that's why, it got an Advocate 100. So big scores for this.
In Loire, I just picked out this 2013 Didier Dagenau Poulet Fumé Cuvée Silex, which already
the Silex, 13 Silex.
Already has a bid tag of 150 to 160. And then in the Rhone, the only thing I picked out a few Gougals. The Côte Rôtie, actually all Côte Rôties. They had 3 Côte Rôties, 2010, 1990, and 1988. The 2010 was the Chateau d'Ampuis, 90 was the La Landon, and the 88 was the La Mouline, and 150 to 725 and 790. I thought those were kind of interesting.
Those are so good. And Le Turc 2003 is also in there, which seems like it gets sort of under, it doesn't have that 03 vintage. I know it's challenging. I don't know. I'm sure that wine's great because it's a lot less than other vintages like 91 and 88. I think Le Turc's probably even more than La Mouline for other years. But yeah, I picked those as well. There's some nice Cuvée Monayoul from Pierre Celio in this week. The 2000, there's mags and 750s. It's probably great, especially in Magnum format. And there's an 01, a couple 01 mags as well for 150. That's really, really tasty. So there's some of the Gonon Saint Joseph popped in again this week, 12, 13, 15, 17. Prices seem to be kind of holding to at this sort of 150 to 170 range. Doesn't seem like it's getting pushed up beyond that. I mean, everyone talks about how they used to drink it for, $35 or whatever 10 years ago. But anyway, the 12 is 165, 13 is 150, and 15 is 155, and 17 is 165. So those came in. Some more Noël Verset Cornas. There was, I think, a big hammer last week. I believe, I can't remember if it was 98 or another vintage, but anyway, there's 99 and 2000 this week and serious prices to match. 01 Pego Reserve, a couple bottles of that for 95. Didn't think it was too bad. Also some Vieille Julien 05 for $50. I thought was a decent deal. And then some 2000 and 2001 and 2010 Jeunesse Vieille Vigne Chateauneuf. The 2000s in 2001 or 95, and then the 2010 is 140. So those 89 Reyes popped in this week. We talked about the 90 earlier, hammered last week. So the 89's in at 2250. 09 Beaucastel, Hommage Jacques Perrin, that's in at 330 this week. I don't think that's a crazy price for the Hommage bottling. And then there's 2020 Alain Jaume Grand Veneur Le Miocène for 35. I thought was a good deal. So nice batch of Northern and Southern Rhone stuff in this week.
A bunch of great stuff. And I think that just about wraps up our episode for this week. With WineBid's Finally Hammered, this has been Jeff McGurn and Paul Walker wishing you happy bidding and cheers.
Cheers.